Welcome to the 2 Minute Tuesday rig video, or as I call it, Polly's rig video. Now, I'm going to show you how to make a spread bulk. The float I've got is a 5x10, one of my MP1 wire stems. Now, I get asked a lot about where can I get my floats from. I'm in a limited amount of stockists. Alex here at Tackle & Baits has the full range of my floats, but if you check your local stockists, because there's probably 65 to 70 shops up and down the country that stock them. So otherwise you'll be able to phone Alex up and he can send them out to you. Now, when you waz a rig up, I always cut the ends off if you can use the same float, leaving the rubber on there and a length of line. And this is how I do all my rigs at home. I just simply get the two lines together. All I'm going to do now, because I'm working my eyes, is put on the old club's glasses. It's coming to you all, I'll tell you, it's coming to you all. And I just tie the lines together of the piece of line that I had, so let's just cut that, the piece of line that I had that's attached to the old rig and the new spool of my power micron that I've attached it to. And all my rigs, my drain, canal fishing, are on 012 and normally more river work, 014 becomes a bit more robust. Now I've attached that to there, I just simply pull the float on to that line. So the float is now on the new spool of line that I'm tying the new rig to, and I just cut off the line where I knotted it together. And simply put a loop on the end of the new rig that's attached to the spool, and the loop I'm using here is much stronger than your standard loop. Before I pass the line through the loop that I've made, I twist it and hold it. Then I pass the main line through the loop I formed or twisted to my thumb and forefinger there, and I form a figure 8 and pull it. And that is much stronger than a standard loop because it's trying to go round itself rather than cut through itself. I think with these new little gadgets on the market where you've got these, you can do small hoops, little plastic attachments, you can make a small loop. I think that forms a figure of 8, but it is a much stronger than just a through hand overhand knot like a loop. Then I just push the rubbers into position, one underneath the body, one in the middle of the stem and one on the end, and there it's attached with a loop. Now simply, I'm going to make all my rigs about 3 metres long because you can cut them down. So that's 3 times the width of my arms. Cut that off, and now on the other end I form 2 loops because this is where you attach your Dacron connector or your connector. Once again, I do what I call my little twiddle loop, forming the figure of 8, but I do 2 loops at the top here. Twist it again, and always cut my little tag, so I probably leave, I don't know, ½ inch, and then that top loop I'll cut. And the reason I cut that, because when you pass the line through the big loop and attach it to your Dacron connector or connector, and you leave that loop formed, it can go over the pole sometimes and your elastic don't come out. You think, oh, it's tangled, but the loop's gone over your pole. So by cutting it, you defeat that. I'll go back then to my float that I've attached. Now the way I shot it, and this is what I call like on the drop, but a spread bulk rig. And all that will change, if it's a bigger float, the actual spread bulk becomes larger shot, or as I've got here, Stotts. I prefer to use Stotts because they give a slower fall. And I've been using now probably 8 years. Once I started using on the commercial, I thought I could use these on natural venues. And when you need a pair of these, they become a lot easier to put on than shot. So, right, now shotting it, I'd simply number 11 Stotts. I put on 1, as I do on most of my rigs, just above on the knots. Let's just bite that in position. And also with Stotts, you can move them up and down the line freely, which is great. And I'm going to put on here, I'm going to put on there one just above the hook length and 11, then literally 3 inches from that, another one, 3 inches from that, another one, 3 inches from that, another one. So I've got 4 number 11 slots on there, and then I'll go maybe 2 inches above that, and I'll have my spread bulk, which depending on the size of the float, they could be 11s or they could be 10s. The bigger the float, the bigger the slot will go up, and I'll spread them probably ½ inch apart, 3/4 inch apart, as close together. And I'll probably, if I'm going to use 10s on this, because this is a 5x10 MP1, it's a wire stem, so it's partly self-cocks when you lay it in. I'll spread them there in a spread bulk, and I'll probably put 4 number 10s. And that would be my spread bulk through the water, squat or pinky rig.